Okay, good morning. I'm Tanja Fitzgerald, and we are here this morning to recognize the accomplishment of one of our very talented young ladies. I'm going to introduce the superintendent, who has a presentation for her, and then he's going to say a few remarks. Superintendent Pons.
Thank you. It's great to be here at Cobb Middle School. Thank you. First, I'd like to introduce Maggie Lewis Butler, our school board member that's with us today, Rabbi Romberg that joined us also, and I'm going to ask both of them to say a few words at the end. Students, we're here to recognize Amoreena. I hope I said that right? Good job. Her History Fair project regarding the Holocaust has recently been recognized in the museum, the National Museum, is one of the only projects that they were going to accept and archive and put into their museum as one throughout the nation. So students, think about how many projects that are done in each school every day across America. If we added all those up and could put them in this, we probably couldn't fit them all in this one room that we're in today. So Amoreena, I want to thank you for what you've done, because in our Leon County school system, one of the things that I take a lot of pride in is not that we're one of the highest performing districts in the state, but when we talk about the Holocaust, we talk about real life issues that we need to constantly be teaching others, that projects like this will now last a lifetime, you know, what you created. So there's not anything that I feel like that is more important in education than what we're doing regarding teaching the Holocaust. And you're an example of one of our outstanding students. Part of what initiated this project was when you visited with your grandfather, who was a liberator, a hero. And the experiences that he taught you, that he described to you of liberating these camps, and what he experienced and what all of the soldiers that were with him experienced. And that became a real feeling to you. When we think about the history and we think about Holocaust and we think about what happened and how what we can do to constantly remember this and how we can constantly teach this to all the children that we have, a project like this will do this. And also, as I was talking to Rabbi Romberg, one of the things that is pretty amazing about the students is a lesson that we can learn too, is that the first initial project was not first place, right? The one we had here. So what could we have done at that moment when we sometimes are not accepted as number one in a school level? What she did is went forward. You know, her experience of being up there in the National Holocaust Museum in Washington, what, 4.5, 5 hours that she was there, she decided that what she had brought value, even though she didn't win the first prize. So what a great lesson for all of us to keep going forward, because sometimes we could get discouraged. I know I get discouraged sometimes, but we got to keep moving forward. So I'm very, very proud of you. I'm proud of what this will do not only for our school system, but what it does for us in education. And to me, you represent what our school system is all about. This is a chapter of history that I hope that we'll never, ever forget. We can never forget. And the most important thing we can do from this chapter of history is to somehow find a way to stop things like this in the future. You know, to stop it, because things like this still go on, you know, and we can make examples here today, and if we don't understand it and do everything we can to teach this, it will never. The ending of this project, in Amoreena's own words and a heartfelt plea, is to never forget this dark time in history. And I think that's pretty powerful, a very powerful statement for all of us. At this time, I've also got a letter that came from the United States Holocaust National Museum, which recognizes the accomplishment, which also recognizes that this was the only project that they decided to accept for this year. And I understand there's 2 parts of the project that they've accepted, which even makes it more powerful. So right now, at the very end, I'm going to present a book to you that I brought personally that I'd like to give you. It's I Never Saw Another Butterfly. It's got poems that were written during the time of the Holocaust. And I think it's something that will be very special from me to you, for us to share together. But at this time, I'd like to ask Rabbi Romberg to come up and say a few remarks, and also let's give him a big hand for being here today.
Well, when Superintendent Pons asked me to come here, he didn't realize the real connection between us, Amoreena. Just as your grandpa was a liberator, all of my family is from Germany. And many of them died in the Holocaust, and some of them made it over here. And my dad, who made it here in late 1939, just as the war was breaking out, a few years later volunteered for the US Army, went back to Europe and fought also in the Battle of the Bulge, much like your grandpa. And he was a liberator of Dachau, one of the concentration camps as well. So we shared this connection, you through your grandpa and me through my father, of shared history. What you have done is to honor the memory of those who were lost, because they died feeling that their lives were lost in vain. And we're not just talking about 6 million Jews, we're talking about 12 million people murdered by the Nazis. 6 million of them Jews, and the rest of them a variety of different people that the Nazis disapproved of. Gypsies, homosexuals, just any kind of political protester against the Nazi party were thrown into concentration camps and murdered. And you honor their memories by this project and by it being accepted by the Holocaust Museum, because now perhaps you have helped their lives not to have been lost in vain, but to perhaps provide a warning to us and a warning to future generations. We cannot allow oppression to exist. We cannot tolerate oppressive governments, and maybe also appreciate what it is we have here in the United States, in a country and a government that doesn't oppress its people, but that works to protect its people. And so again, I congratulate you on providing this blessing for the school district, for the community, for the memories of those who perished, and I ask that God's blessing be upon you. Thanks.
Thank you. I also have thank you, Rabbi Romberg, for those great remarks. We also have our school board member, our vice chair, Maggie Lewis Butler. Maggie, if you'd like to come forward.
Thank you, Superintendent Pons. Amoreena, because of your perseverance, we are here to celebrate you today. We thank you for your perseverance and moving forward. And because of the legacy that you're going to leave behind for yourself, your family, your grandpa, your school, Cobbs Middle School, the Leon County School District, and the state of Florida, and the United States, we thank you. So I say congratulations to you as we celebrate you.
To the Tillman family, I know that y'all have been part of this journey, and I just want to, thank you for your support, because behind every great student, there's parents that are supporting and continue to encourage. And I'm sure there might have been some times during this when students get discouraged, but as parents, you really push forward, and I just salute you for that. And obviously, I know you're very proud, and you should be. At this time, what I'd like to do is, students, is to present a book, I Never Saw Another Butterfly, and it's children's drawings and poems from concentration camp. And this is going to be a personal gift from me to Amoreena. So if you'd come forward, I want to get you to accept this for me, and I'm going to give you a big hug. Let's all get in here, right here together, so we can get a picture. All right, thank you. Just thank everybody for being here today, and special thanks to the family and Rabbi Romberg for being here. And again, let's hope we carry this lesson forward, students, and let's think what we can all do to be a role model for our entire community. Thank you all, and have a great day. Thank you very much.
I felt pride. I felt proud that somebody in one of our middle schools, again, who is not Jewish, but had a relationship with a grandpa, and felt so moved by his story that she felt it necessary to create an entire history project out of it, and not just to submit it to the history fair, but to take it a step beyond. And you know, that kind of perseverance and that kind of dedication to a higher ideal, I think, is a great model for everybody.
We can't let history pass us by. It can't just become the past, because the past is what influences our present and future. And if we don't remember the past, then it might happen again in the future.
As we got deeper into the project and we're looking at more film footage and photographs, it was pretty intense because it was a very gruesome time in history. And I questioned whether or not she was 11 at the time, an 11-year-old needed to be seeing such images. But she was on a mission and she wanted to get this message out. And she said, this is history, it's not always pretty, and I want people to know what happened and what it means now.
Well, mostly it was my grandfather who liberated camp, and it really touched me the way he described what happened. And I also wanted the message to spread because it is happening in other countries right now. And I believe that the more people that know, the better chance we have of stopping it in our country and possibly helping other countries.
She is driven by the fact that it is happening right now. This gives her the passion, and she said, at all costs, we have to stop this, and the only way to stop this is to touch those around her who don't know, their hearts.
We're fortunate to have a great student body here, very talented students. So you have to kind of wait until the final project is complete in order to see, you know, what the caliber is of the project. And after she finished up her project, I looked at the document. It was very touching, and I thought it was wonderful. Amoreena is
Actually comes from an old Elton John song. And it means love, amore, for love.
We all look for signs of hope in the upcoming generation. The sad fact is that the generation of survivors of the Holocaust is dying out and is almost gone. And so you wonder, how is the story going to be continued, and will it lose its impact? And I think that Amoreena shows that it can be continued so that we can learn the appropriate lessons and it doesn't lose its impact.
Her passion for her grandfather's efforts in World War II drove her. And there were many times during the process where 3 times I can remember where she woke us up in the middle of the night and crying. And she said, I can't take it, Dad. How can people do this? And I said, Amoreena, I got down on my knee and I looked at her and I said, if you don't take responsibility, who will? And she said, all right, Dad, I'll do it. And I said, we'll be with you every step of the way. And we were, but it is all her. Her efforts and her way of thinking was different. And the Holocaust Museum told us that it wasn't just the interview with the grandfather that they accepted. They wanted those 2 things separate. In the History Fair project, both of them were together, but they accepted her entire History Fair project as a permanent document and a permanent display.
It doesn't seem to bother her. She will speak up. Sometimes you can't hear her, but just the passion and the emotion in her voice and on her face tells you that she is speaking from her heart.
It's a very intense subject, but they supported me.
When I see students excel in the culture that Amoreena did today, and her project, how it moved forward, I have a great respect for her excellence, and as well as for her support. Her teacher, made very sure that she participated in projects. And when students follow through as instructed by their teacher and their family, then we get great projects like Amoreena Project for the Holocaust.
Well, we are very proud of her, and it gives me hope that she's taken an interest in history and wants to find out, you know, why things are the way they are or how we got to where we are. She understands that freedom comes with a price, and that her grandfather gave her that gift. And I think I feel that she is destined for something big.